What's up, guys? Kind of been a while. Haven't really been doing anything other than just bullshit work. I'm gonna show you a little trick. I posted this on my Instagram story. A lot of people didn't know it. I kind of thought it was an old school trick that everybody had known, but I guess not. These are 205 45 17s. They're on 17 by 9.5 inch 35th anniversary vet wheels, if you care. They're run flats. I like run flats. I like to stretch run flats. It's kind of weird, but I've been driving back and forth to Jacksonville for a week for work. That's an hour and 10 minutes each way, and one of my tires kept going flat because of a bad valve stem, and I was just driving on it flat, not even 3 or 4 psi, just flat, and it was fine. You know, I recently replaced the valve stem. I'm flipping the front. Actually, it's a new tire up front. I'm about to drive this thing to Massachusetts, 1,200 miles. So I'm gonna show you guys what I do. I just get some bike tubes right from Walmart. They're 17-inch wheels, like I said. So I get 16-inch bike tubes. The cheaper, the better. You know, you're only using them once. I've seen people do this and actually get the tube back out in one piece. I don't really know how the fuck you would. I'm not even gonna attempt to show you that. So flat tube, I leave the core in. I give it just a little bit of air, enough to where if you hold it, you don't have any kinks like that. You know, I don't even think it would register on this gauge. You know, and you can deflate it as you go, but just enough for it to be round, you know? This is actually a little stiffer than I want. But I do that. I got some nice soapy water. And then let me make sure you guys can see this. Let me zoom in here. But you can see, not a crazy stretch. You know, a lot of people do this just fine with a cheetah. With run flats, it's really hard to ether run. Believe me, I've tried my ass off. But so what I do, you know, the tire not seated on the bottom, nothing like that. I get the bead nice and slicked up. All the way around, and then I'll go opposite. So I got valve stem for the tube and valve stem on this, back to back, or not back to back, across from each other. So I like to flip it inside out, obviously, so the stem's on the outside. Stretch it over, and then before you shove it in, giggity, I soak it up again. Nice and wet. You know, you can do this with your little pancake compressor in your mom's driveway. You know, you don't really need a tire machine. Well, I mean, I guess you need a tire machine to get a tire on. Unless you're ballsy and do it with spoons. Not many people do that. So now that this is in here, if you just try to blow it up, it's just gonna blow the tube off. So what I do is, I'll shove it down into the drop center, right? Sometimes, you know, it'll let you know. You know, if you got it right, it'll blow up. If you don't, it'll just push the tube right out, and then you'll have to start again. Push it down into the drop center, like I said, until it's pretty even all the way around. I like to leave the valve stem pointing out, obviously. I don't want it inside my tire, really. Now, over by the valve stem of the wheel, there's a little bit of a gap up against it. So what you do is with your air, while you're trying to fill it up, it's kind of tricky because I can't hold this all into it, but try to pinch it to the valve stem. Just give it a few, and then you should go right on. I don't have much in the compressor, so it might take a minute here. I don't want to run it because it's way too fucking loud, obviously. I've got no valve core in the wheel itself. I do have it in the tube. There's the bottom bead, and then she should slip right over the tube to the top bead. It'll either do that or it'll blow the tube right out the side. But it should go. It looks like it's going. I've done it before with no soapy water, and it does the same thing just fine still, but it takes a lot of PSI. Right now we're at 40. Just fairly good. It takes a while because you're kind of blocking the airway because you have an inner tube touching your valve core, or valve stem rather, of the wheel. But usually it goes. Once you get it going, once the top bead starts to seat, you'll see the tube start to push out of the way. But looks like I might need a little more pressure in the tank. So I think I'm gonna have to run that. So pardon me while that goes on. So, as you can see now, she's seated. But when you come over here, there is a valve stem there, obviously. So, all I do is spin her right around so you guys can see it, maybe. I'll just grab it with some needle nose and a nice fresh razor blade, and I'll cut it right out. And then wherever you can find a good chunk of tube, I'll grab it and I'll cut towards the tire, right deep into the bead seat. Obviously don't try to muckle your tire like crazy, but that's a good idea. Once you are done cutting all that out, I like to spray some soapy water up in there. The back side, so as long as you didn't demolish your tire putting it on, the back side shouldn't have any leaks. There's no bike tube. It's just tire bead seat on bead seat of wheel, theoretically, right? But I like to go around to make sure that there's no crazy air bubbling out, blah, blah, blah. whatever. This one looks like it has some crazy stretch, but I promise it's really nothing special. It's just kind of a squared, weird tire, but you can see the tube's still in there. I actually have had luck with this too. Screwing up bead seats, putting tires on with like 30 or 35 side profiles that you can't seat. You use the tube and it actually acts kind of as the bead wall as well where you tore it. So it kind of, I don't know, it isn't right. Right way would be to use a cheetah, you know, but I don't have mine right now, but it's been working. I've put, wow, a couple thousand miles on these ones so far. Cut the tubes out of them just fine. Actually, I redid that one. That's the one that had a leaky valve stem. But yeah, I don't know. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing new. You know, I'm not the one that thought of this by any means. I don't know. Hopefully that helped you guys. You know, I don't know. Your call. You know, I try to cut the valve core out. You can run the tube the other way and just let it slip inside the tire. But I am going to try to balance these, so I don't necessarily want a big brass valve core inside. But I don't know. Either way, that's what you get.
Magic is all we've ever known, then it's easy to miss what really goes on. But I've seen miracles in every way, and I see miracles every day. Ocean spanning beyond my sight, and a million stars way above them at night. You don't have to be high to look in the sky.